Once again, welcome to another edition of Professor Cutz. I am Professor Cutz. If you need any tips, you can call the hotline 0759 985 800, get you through to Professor Cutz. Or if you just want to book me, actually, I'm around London. We do home service, and we all our barbers are CRB checked, so you don't have to worry about that. They're all cleared. So yes, first thing we do is create a demarcation line. Now, what is a demarcation line? You know, sounds like a long word, sounds interesting. It's basically a line of reference. It's the line between what you're seeing here now, which is I'm creating one side is bald, the other side is hair. Right in between those two sides there, you've got the demarcation line, and that is basically where the transition happens between the bald into the gradual hair until at the top where you've got maybe a number 1 or 2. In this case, I didn't really take too much off the top. It's got about number 2 there. Yeah, so basically what I'm doing is creating that first demarcation line and make sure it's bald, completely bald under that line. I'm also using a whale detailer now to just really clean all the hair underneath the demarcation line. You know, a lot of clients prefer a sharp trim as opposed to an okay trim. Some people are actually happy with okay trims, but some people need the crispness, the greatness, yeah? So now we're gonna create the second demarcation line. And what we are doing now is opening the blade and creating that demarcation line. So the blade is open fully and we're just creating a second line, a second demarcation line, which you can see there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to fade out the first demarcation line by gradually coming down from an open blade to a closed blade. That's basically what happens, yeah. You know, you can see I'm adjusting my clippers there. I'm closing them slightly as I come down, yeah? So as I get closer to the bottom, my blades will be at roughly 0.1, which is slightly open, because I want to get rid of the bottom demarcation line. I've put a half guard on now, which is great because it works between the half and the 1. So yeah, I'm gradually fading out that second demarcation line now. Yeah, still see the first one a little bit. Still see it a little bit, but I'm fading out the second one. Right, stay with me. Guard number 1 now. Put guard number 1. We're taking off a bit more of the hair. Yeah, I got 1.5 anyway, so I'm just cleaning off the edges. As you can see, I've got the number 1 guard and I'm just fading out the second demarcation line. Gradually fading out that second demarcation line. As you can see, the technique is not to actually raise the demarcation line, it's more to just flick it out. After a few attempts, you'll start to see the effects work. In fact, if you do exactly what I'm doing there, you'll get the same results. Okay, so I've slipped on a half guard there, and I'm erasing the second demarcation line and coming down onto the first demarcation line until we've got a smooth transition between a bald fade and then gradually creeping up to a half, a 1, and then a 1.5. Yeah, once again, you can see that I'm taking out the lower demarcation line, yep. Between the first and the second one now, I'm using the half guard to really pull it out. You can see now that I'm working with the grain and I haven't got any blades on, it's open fully, and I'm just making sure that first and second demarcation line is blended in perfectly. We get to the shape up. Got to make sure your shape ups are really crispy and sharp. There's various different techniques to achieve this. You can watch me and see here I'm using a razor blade slightly to just clean him up. Now I do a bit more razor blade work, but this is just to get rid of the sparse hairs and kind of create a guideline, because sometimes when you apply powder first before you use the blade, well, when you get rid of the powder, you can see that it's not as sharp as it should be. So yeah, I've got the well detailer and I'm using guard number 1. And I'm just leveling off the hair on the moustache and the beard, getting it all to one level. Also using the powder technique to create a demarcation line on the moustache. I'll apply that line on both sides and use that as a reference, and I won't go beyond that demarcation line. So yeah, we're creating the growthy here. Got to make sure everything's symmetrical on both sides. Sometimes that can be a bit difficult depending on the lighting and if you're using mirrors and stuff like that. But yeah, starting to take shape. And remember, it's a process. It's a gradual process, yeah? And that's the beauty of barbering. To sculpture, to shape, to create. So yeah, I'm just cleaning them up with the well detailer, making sure there's no hairs around his neck and stuff like that. A razor blade. A good old-fashioned, old-school razor blade. Now, for all you new barbers, it might take you a little time to get used to the razor blade. You've got to be very, very gentle with the razor blade on the skin, because it can cause all types of issues. But the razor blade is one of the greatest tools in the box in terms of giving you a finished cut. So yeah, what you can see I've done there is I've used the razor blade to just remove the hair. In fact, clean the hair completely bald. And now you can see that I'm taking off some dry skin. It's a bit like exfoliation, in all honesty. I've just taken off about 3 or 4 years now. You can see that smile, he's happy. He's looking in the mirror and he's happy. He sees the transformation. It's important to make your customers feel at ease, relaxed, calm. Let's say scissors overcoming, but I think I edited that part out because the video was too long. I'm one of those barbers who just take me time. I'm sorry. I like to give a quality service. Yeah, you can see I'm spraying the client with Benjamin's rubbing alcohol, which just makes sure that if there is any cuts caused with the razor blade, that there's no infections. You can see there that I'm applying some organic olive oil just to rejuvenate the hair. Remember, it's all about presentation, boys and girls, ladies and gents. So yeah, you can see I'm brushing the hair there, and I'm going to spray a bit more oil sheen on there just to give it a nice little shine. And that's it. Customer looks great, feels great. And last but not least, just check the bottom of the neck to make sure there's no hairs hanging over the collar. Wouldn't look good, eh? So we remove the sparse hairs, we brush off the client, and hey presto, they're good to go. Look at him, he looks great, feels great. And if you could hear what he's saying now, he's saying, make sure you come to Professor Cutz and come and get your trims. Thank you for listening and watching another episode of Professor Cutz. This is part 3. Look out for part 4. I'm going to try and do at least one video a week. Once again, that's Professor Cutz signing out. For more information on Professor Cutz, prices, locations, accounts, contact us on 07539 985 800. Thank you. God bless.